now listening to the Cowboys from Hell podcast.
Yep.
Yeah,
We're on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cowboy from Hell podcast. I'm your host, Landon Tusiasena. With me, as always, our producer and friend, Jason Crane. We got a great episode for you today because we have so much feedback from our last episode. Our last episode, we covered the high-waisted bikinis, and our Instagram was flooded with women telling me that my opinion doesn't matter. Oh, man. My favorite part of the feedback was it was very clear that there was a correlation between how hot you are and how much you didn't care what I was saying. So, for example, the hottest chicks were like, "Oh, this is funny." Not to say to anyone that reached out to us in a negative way, if you disagreed, I'm not saying you're ugly. I'm definitely not saying that. But there was a correlation where, like, the girls that laughed and found humor in it were definitely hotter chicks. Probably because life is just easier for a hot chick. I mean, that is what it is.
My favorite was when you reposted Hailey Bieber.
Yes.
You said, "PSA, you're not Hailey Bieber."
This is not you. I want to specifically read a comment from our friend at Sydney Kid with 3 Y's and 2 D's, at Sydney Kid on Instagram. She said, "Good shit, Landon. I like the high-waisted look just because I like that style, but I agree with you that it does elongate the booty and semi-cover the fupa. You're spot on." Now, the reason I love that comment is because she doesn't really, she likes high-waisted bikinis, and she admitted that. But then she saw both sides and she laughed. She put LOL. She gets that we are being funny. And I feel like that's getting lost so much. And I think that's because today, when you go online, you're just flooded with arguing. Everyone's taking their positions and everyone's going back and forth. And it's so weird to think that people don't like each other because of political alignment. My own dad, he'll be watching a movie, or I'll tell him, "Hey, you got to watch this TV show." And he'll go, "Oh, who's in it?" And I say an actor. And he'll be like, "Oh, I don't like that actor." Because they're fucking liberals. That's so insane to me, to sit there and not like someone because of their political alignments. Like, how can you dislike someone just because they believe that this or that should be legal or illegal? That's such a stupid way to look at things. And so my point is, don't bring that shit in here. And so when I look at the feedback from our bikini episode, please take it for what it is. This is, again, comedy. We're just being funny and having a good time and pointing out how stupid some things are and how hilarious some things are. More feedback from last episode. A girl said, "Thick girls with ass can wear high-waisted bikinis and get away with it." Well, that goes back to what I said about the meat at the bottom that you want to accentuate. If a girl has a fat ass, that meat is accentuated all the way to the top. And I think that your seam should be right there. If you want to go a little higher than that, whatever. Anyways, we just want to thank everyone for reaching out. Negative and positive feedback on that last episode. It was so fun to interact with you guys and be a part of it. And thank you guys who shared our clip. Our friends at Deviant Gentlemen Podcast reshared our high-waisted clip, and we got a bunch of new followers that are like shoot guns and pro-military, which is cool.
Thanks, boys.
Yeah, we appreciate everyone. We want this podcast to be listened to by people on the left, the right, up, down, black, white, Asian. We don't give a shit. We want everyone to enjoy themselves and have a good time. That's kind of our philosophy on life. Some more feedback that happened. Someone reached out we shared a story about one of my friends hooking up with a trans girl. And we shared it in detail. I think it was like episode 2 or 3. It's a great story. And the bottom line, I mean, to just be quickly go over it again. My friend Brian, he goes on a date and he goes on a Tinder date. He walks in, the lights are low, the candles are going. And she's like, "Wow, you're so much hotter in person, even more hot in the pictures." And she grabs him, they start kissing, and they get right to it. And so he didn't really have time to calculate. One of my friends reached out and said that they had an experience similar to that. And they were traveling, but it was very evident that they were dealing with a trans person because they felt their boner get hard on their leg, which again is whatever. We love everyone at this podcast. We want everyone to have a good time. So, but that was just funny feedback, and it really did. I'm going to Utah in about 4 hours, and my friend Brian lives there, the guy who had the trans story, and I can't wait to sit down with him. And now that the podcast has come out, he thought it was hilarious. He had a good time. I can't wait to sit down with him and say, hey, did you know? Like, really? Because it's been years. It's been almost 7 years now. He's in his mid-30s. We got nothing to hide anymore.
For the sake of the story, I still hope he didn't know.
Honestly,
just because it makes it funnier. He's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it makes it kind of gnarly, though, because then it brings up all these other issues, like, should she tell him? You know what I mean? It makes it kind of like, and then people go, oh, I'll get fucking pissed if someone didn't tell me. I don't want to get into that. Anyways, moving on to our current events. And actually, there's something later on that we're going to bring up trans things again. But anyways, moving on to current events. The biggest thing, I mean, there's so many goddamn current events now, but one of my favorite things that's happened since we last recorded was Los Angeles Clippers player Montrezl, there's an L at the end, Montrezl Harrell called Luka Doncic a bitch-ass white boy, and they caught it on camera. And there was Instagram blew up, and everyone was reposting it. And someone, Simmons, I don't remember who it was, someone made a video and said, man, how could you do that, Montrezl? I don't know if you're supposed to pronounce the L at the end, but
I'm going with the L.
It was it was such a good story because anyone who plays sports, especially contact sports, knows that this shit talking flows. And I guarantee you Montrezl Harrell has white friends, white family members, and doesn't have any ill will towards white people at all. But he said that because in that heat of the moment, you start talking shit. And dude, I think one time in high school, I called someone a bitch-ass white boy, and I am a quarter white. So when you're playing sports and getting competitive and getting heated like that, that shit comes out. And I love how everyone dealt with it. And it's a shame that it definitely would not have been dealt the same if things had been flipped. If any white player in the NBA called someone a bitch-ass black boy, it would, oh my God, that guy's getting fired. He's getting fired. He's done. He's out. But the way this was handled was exactly how we should be handling these things. A lot of people spoke out and said, dude, that's not right to do. You should not call someone a bitch-ass white boy like that. He wasn't fired. He wasn't fined. He got to play still. And then they hugged at the end of the game. The next game, because it's the playoffs, they see each other again 2 nights later. They hug, and Luka said, don't worry about it. Because he knows that that's not necessarily racism. So, you know, I feel so lucky because I feel so untouchable. I'm fucking half Samoan, a quarter Mexican, a quarter white. But being like that, being categorized in those ways and part of those separate cultures, like, I really can do and say whatever the fuck I want. Like, and my best friend's a black guy, and no one can, I have friends that are all different shapes and sizes and colors. No one can call me racist. And I fucking love it. But I think there's so many people, I don't think you should have to be I don't think a white guy needs to be Asian to make an Asian joke. I don't think a Mexican guy needs to be black to make a black joke. I wish we could all just relax, and I wish we could deal with things when they happen the same way they dealt with the Montrezl Harrell thing. I don't think you're supposed to pronounce the L.
I'm down to be L.
I just, man, what a great story. What a great way that everyone dealt with it. Like, we get it. It's competitive. They hugged at the end. It's not the end of the fucking world. It feels like everything that happens today, it's the end of the fucking world. You remember our friend Chase, he reached out and said that, you know, he found this girl he was talking to on social media. He saw, oh shit, she's super left, I'm super right. And it was one of our questions, our questions from the homies. One of the questions was, should I still pursue this? And we said, yeah, hell yeah, pursue it. It makes for great conversation, and you're having a good time, and you're having fun now. And now you're really getting into things. But I hope that people that listen to this, I hope you look in the mirror and you think, okay, have I X'd anyone out of my life just because I don't agree with them politically? And I already know. I actually have friends. I have friends that are super right that think I'm liberal, and super left that think I'm conservative.
Same.
Just because I don't subscribe to either side. And I know friends that have stopped. I'm definitely not interacting or hanging out with certain friends because they learned how I feel about some of these polarizing issues.
And I'm pretty much opposite of whatever you are, just so we can poke the bear.
Yeah, I know you are. I'm the same way, and it's really fun to be like that, and it makes things exciting. It also brings up our structure. We're still going to start with like feedback, but things are just flowing right now, and I got to bring up someone messaged me something really funny. He said, one of my friends said, "Hey, do you think this girl that I'm talking to? So he's Hawaiian, she's white. He said she's posting a lot of political stuff right now, but in between her political stuff, she's posting selfies of herself. And I wanted to do the hard eyes, but like when I did the hard eyes on accident to the Black Lives Matter post." Oh, it's so hilarious to consider because that really is what the internet is right now. Instagram, you'll go to this hot chick's Instagram and you'll see all these bikini photos, and on her story it's like new posts and her titties are out, and then the next one is Black Lives Matter, and then the next one is wear your mask, and it's like it's all muddled together. And so my friend reaches out to this girl and he accidentally sends hard eyes to the Black Lives Matter post. It's such a hilarious concept.
And you can't say, I didn't mean to like that one. I meant to like the other one.
For sure. You got to roll with that at that point. So it's what a funny concept and what a funny thing to think about right now. Things are so political and everything's so polarizing that it's changed the dating scene. And now, what was that girl? There was some hot chick was on Instagram and she said, if you're going to reach out to a hot chick on Instagram that has a lot of followers, try to reply to her story. Don't just do the cold DM, which I think was that's a great advice.
Oh, from Pam.
Did she say that?
I don't know.
No, I don't think Pam said that. I don't know. Pam's hot too, though. We love Pam. Good on you. But yeah, sliding into girls' DMs during these political times is kind of a funny thing. And when Chase reached out and asked about that, about talking to a girl with opposite political views, it brings up a whole new strategy with men getting women. You don't have to believe in her cause, but you can DM her and pretend like you do, which is fucking hilarious. Could you imagine? We don't really have that many political alignments. This is definitely not a political podcast. So because I don't feel that strongly about any of it, because there's good on all sides, I can see a girl who's just going hard in the paint for like Black Lives Matter. And a lot of it's white girls that are grandstanding, which is hilarious to me. But I can reach out to her and be like, yo, thank you. As a person of color, thank you so much. Two, I super agree with you. Yes. I super agree with you. Man, these are hilarious times right now. And they bring up all these really fun new strategies with men getting women.
Guys, if you've got one, let us know how it happened.
Yeah. Everyone out there, everyone listening, if you've had an experience with, if especially men, if you have reached out to a girl and sided with her politically simply to get her attention, please reach out to us because we want to hear how it goes and we want to applaud you.
And I want to hear how it ended.
Yeah. I hope our first episode we talked about biracial babies. That's actually how that story from the first episode happened. There was a hot chick that I followed on Instagram and she posted that. She's the one that posted stop fetishizing biracial babies, and she's where that whole thing came from. And it was such a it goes back to that shit where people are like, there's a lot going on with this group, but don't forget about me. Pay attention to me and my plight. I want some fucking attention in that way too. That's just gross to me. But it also brings up going back to the transgender thing. Trans lives matter, and I support our transgender community. If you want to do that, do that. I don't give a fuck. If you feel like you were born that way, you're born that way. But it does bring up a very interesting issue. So now we talked about the trans issue, we talked about the racial issue. Let's combine those two, and let's talk about transracial people. Let's say I wake up in the morning, and one day I just feel like I am a full white person in this tan guy's body. I just totally want to abandon my Samoan culture. I don't want to even acknowledge that my grandfather was Mexican and my mom's maiden name was Hernandez. I don't want anyone to know that shit. I'm going to hide all of it. I'm going to change my last name to a white last name. I want to stop going in the sun, and I want to bleach my hair. I've already started the process. Is that okay? What do we say to people? Do we say, hey, no, that's not okay? And now that's me saying I want to be full white. I'm a quarter white. How about a white guy that has no black heritage, and he wakes up and says, you know what? I'm fucking black. I am a transracial black man. Now, look at all the shit that brings into play here. That is interesting. I want to see that SNL skit played out. I want to hear your opinions on transracial people. And is that possible?
A long time ago, SNL did a skit with Eddie Murphy when he went and became Mr. White and then went to the subway, did all that stuff. Like, I'd love to see it reversed.
Well, I don't know if that... See, I don't think those skits would be... you're getting canceled nowadays. You're getting canceled immediately for stuff like that. I mean, I might get canceled just for saying transracial, but what if that's really a thing? Because we are so quick to support...
Dude, it is a thing. The lady who...
oh, yeah. Sean King and Rachel...
Yeah, it's already been a thing.
I don't know if they called themselves transracial. I mean...
Well, she identified as a... whatever you call it.
Dude, I mean, it brings such a... It's now... I mean, if a guy's transracial... Dude, imagine a white guy getting an Asian eye surgery. I mean, boom. You know, our producer's girlfriend's Asian, so we can say that.
Yeah, and I'm super white.
But there you go. That's another thing. Like, can you say this if you're this? Obviously, black people have the pass to say the N-word. What if a white guy's transracial and he feels like he's a black guy in a white guy's body? Does he have the pass? I mean, there's so many interesting things that come from this. And our next guest is going to be a black gentleman, an African-American gentleman, and I can't wait to ask him these questions because this is the kind of stuff everyone wants to know. No, I'm kidding. You could make a great meme out of this. Nobody. Yeah. Cowboy from Hell podcast. What about transracial people? Oh, man.
That is really funny.
Anyways, some comedians out there, you guys please someone make a bit about transracial people because, God, what an interesting subject this could be. Also, you know, going back to the beginning episodes of this podcast and people getting canceled and shit like that, you know, there's a lot of content on here that we could get in trouble for.
All of it.
And I hope everyone realizes and recognizes that I just want to say I'm so not sorry for anything we say, and you can go fuck yourself if you think we're racist or sexist, because we're not. God damn it! Now, speaking of sexist and sexism and sexual things and genders and men and women, our topic of the day that I wanted to bring up was sexual harassment. Now, there's a lot that's been done. A lot of people getting canceled lately. One of my favorite comedians. I should say one of my favorite comedic personalities because I don't like his stand-up that much. Brian Callen just got canceled. He's been accused of sexual harassment and rape. And the rape thing, that's a real accusation. That's a gnarly accusation to have to deal with. But as far as sexual harassment goes, these waters are so muddy. So fucking muddy. I've worked with kids. I've worked with 17-year-old girls for a long time. And I've had friends go down for sexual harassment. I got accused once of harassment, not sexually, but I had a parent say that I was way too hard on her daughter because I was coaching her, and I was harassing specifically her. Luckily, all the other kids on the team had my back. All the other girls were like, "He does not. That's insane." I invite people to come to my practices all the time, but the sexual harassment thing is so sensitive because one can just simply say, I mean. The believe men, believe women thing gets so muddy because someone can just say, "Oh, he sexually harassed me," or "She sexually harassed me," and you know, guilty without being proven guilty. It's a lot of the time my word against your word. I always had a hilarious idea for a SNL skit. I wanted to have a business meeting, a sexual harassment. It's a round table of sexual harassment training for a corporate company. And they're all sitting there on their chairs, and let's say Ryan Gosling's the host that week, right? Some gorgeous celebrity, male celebrity. And the person is teaching the meeting, and Gosling's in the meeting, and they bring a girl into the room, and they say, "Okay, guys, we want to give you an example of sexual harassment." And so one of the SNL cast members is an uglier, fatter guy, and he's sitting next to Ryan Gosling, Bobby Moynihan. So Bobby's next to Gosling, and they're sitting there, and the lady who's teaching the seminar brings in a woman and says, "Okay, guys, we want to show you guys an example of sexual harassment." And she goes, "Okay, let's start with you," and points to Bobby Moynihan's character, the big fat guy, and she says, "I want you to compliment her on what she's wearing today." And he goes, "Hey, I really like that dress. It looks great on you." And she goes, "Oh my God, I did not ask you to comment on my outward appearance." And the lady teaching the class goes, "Thank you. That's a perfect example of what we do not need in the workplace. We don't need you to comment on any coworker's outward appearance, male or female." And so she asks, she goes, "Anyone else?" And Gosling raises his hand and goes, "Wow, you look really sexy with that jewelry on." And the girl who came in goes, "Oh my God, thank you," and like touches her earrings. and Bobby Moynihan's character goes, "Whoa, what the fuck? Like, are you kidding me? That's what." But that's where the laugh comes in, because the reality of the situation is, when you talk about sexual advances and sexual harassment, the word that comes before those two words is unwarranted. So that means sexual harassment now becomes the choice of the girl receiving the compliment, which can get muddy again. I get away with all types of shit. I'm fucking 6'4" with dark skin and green eyes. I could do whatever the fuck I want. I never get in trouble for that shit, which obviously I'm being funny. But like, I have friends that have struggled with girls calling them the worst word a girl can call a dude today. It's like killer. If this word gets out and other people call you that, and a little group of girls calls you this, you are fucked. You know what that word is?
Aggressive.
Creepy.
Oh, creepy.
Creepy. No, aggressive's okay. 365 on Netflix. That fixed that word. No, the word creepy can crush a dude now in a social circle. If a guy's known as creepy, it's over for you, my guy, because now you're going to spend all your time trying to prove that you're not creepy, which probably comes off a little more creepy. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's like the stuff that you do to impress a girl, like show up at her work, open her car, put flowers in it. Like, that's all super romantic or creepy.
Exactly.
Really depends. It depends if you want it or not.
It depends if they want it or not. If you listening wants it or not. I've seen friends crash and burn, and one of my friends, my friend Mike, he is a very attractive guy, and I've seen him talk to girls in a way where I know there's no fucking chance one of my other friends who doesn't look like him could pull that off.
Totally.
And so it's when it comes to sexual harassment, it's like you men, for you guys to protect yourselves, boys, I would say Joe Rogan Joe Rogan says, don't say anything to a woman that you wouldn't say to a man, right? And that means like you wouldn't go up to a dude and say, "Hey bro, you should smile more." Right? That's what he was saying. Totally. That is funny. But I would take it further than that, because I would say that to one of my guy friends. So I think it's less about that and more about looking at the person that you are interacting with. The golden rule that in Christianity, or whoever fucking said this shit, they say the golden rule is treat others how you want to be treated. I do not agree with that golden rule, and I don't think that is the right way to live your life. I think that can fuck you up, because I know a lot of people don't want to be interacted with the way I want to be interacted with. I want to have a conversation with someone that's fucking honest and gritty. I want to hear the worst thing that ever happened to you, the best thing that ever happened to you. I want to talk about politics, religion, sex, money, all that stuff on the first date. Most people don't want that. So if I were to follow the golden rule, I'm going to get in trouble constantly. So what I think the real golden rule should be, and how this works with sexual harassment, the real golden rule should be treat others how they want to be treated. And the better you can be at reading that, the more friends you're going to have, the more chicks you're going to get.
Just have like the social wherewithal. Like, if this girl's not feeling you, don't try.
Yeah.
Dude, don't throw a Hail Mary of a line at her. If you already knew she wasn't feeling you, it's going to come off creepy. If she's feeling you,
I agree.
throw the Hail Mary out.
Yeah. Well, also,
but just having social wherewithal, like how's the conversation going? Are we hitting it off? Are we not?
The social readings can also happen with where you are too.
Totally.
Like if you're at a bar and everyone's hammered, do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, I'm not saying go sexually harass someone, but definitely like, I work still with in sensitive situations with children, with parents, with people paying you for services. And I mean, whether it's like, what's that girl, that lady just went down for paying for her kids to go to school at USC.
Whatever.
The coaches all went down. Yeah, everyone went down. I work in a situation where at any moment shit can hit the fan. At any moment someone can accuse you of this, accuse you of that. And I'm fucking insane. I'm a wild person, and I've never once gotten in trouble for anything because I think my meter at reading those situations is really, really sharp. I think I'm really good at, because it's taken me so long because of that golden rule thing. treat others how they want to be treated, and spend your social hours trying to figure out how those people want to be treated. That protects you. So when it comes to sexual harassment, you won't find yourself in a situation like that. One of my favorite comedians, if not my favorite comedian of all time, Patrice O'Neal, rest in peace. He passed away in 2013. I quote him all the time because, man, I just feel like that guy was so tuned in to so many things socially. And he had a joke about sexual harassment. He said, having men and women in the workplace together is like having bears work with salmon dipped in honey. Yeah. And I think that is like such a perfect way to put it because, you know, our second episode, we talked about men, and how sexually oriented our minds are and how driven we are by that thing and how I'm American Pie, the dude fucks a pie on the counter, and I talked about the couch cushions experiment. Experience. It was both. We talked about those things, and Patrice O'Neal's quote on salmon dipped in honey with bears, like, we know that, I know that, you know that. More importantly, the women you work with know that. And nowadays, they know how gross and creepy men can be. And so if you find yourself on that border, if you're not sure, take a step back and pump the brakes, my guy. Take a step back and pump the brakes. And it will protect you. Anytime I've heard a story, you know, a guy that we coached with, I never coached with him, but he was in the same industry as me. He got in trouble for girls that he coached on his Snapchat, seeing him in his underwear or something like that. I don't know. There's a bunch of accusations that came out, but like anytime a coach, whether it's that gymnastics coach for USA, these dudes, if you're a parent or if you are administrator and you want to look out for the guys that you need to be worried about, the sexual harassers and sexual assaulters, this is a PSA for them right here. You got to look for the guy that doesn't get attention outside of work. So let's say I get home, playing my video games, eating my pizza. I don't have a girlfriend. I'm not talking to any girls. I'm just having bad luck on Tinder. No one's matching me. And it just fucking sucks. I get to work that night, and now I have 8, 16, 17-year-old girls looking up at me, batting their eyes, doing whatever I ask them to do because I'm their fucking coach. Those are the guys you need to look out for. So when you see when you see an active, socially active guy as a coach, you know, there's like this untold thing where like you need to be married with a kid to be a coach at a university now, or a woman has to be on. You have to have, if you're single, you have to have women on your coaching staff. Sure, whatever. I don't care about that. But there's a lot of other signs that people don't talk about, and this is one of them. If a dude is lonely and sad and he's coaching and he's working with women, or he's a teacher at school, that's the dude you got to look out for. I know exactly. There's another guy in Utah. Fuck, I'm trying so hard not to say words or names and stuff like that. But there's another guy in Utah that he was coaching 18-year-old girls, and you know it happens all the time. You know, coaches, not all the time, but sometimes coaches fall for their students and athletes and shit like that. And if they're of age and there was no grooming involved, great, whatever. But that's rarely the case. So if I'm gonna build my perfect teacher, my perfect coaching staff, I'm gonna go find dudes that are socially active, that have friends and that have girlfriends and that are party animals. No, maybe not party animals, because that can go another way, but it's the quiet ones you got to watch out for. That's my point. And you know, to get back to the beginning of what we started with sexual harassment, gentlemen, you've got to gauge. All that matters is gauging the person that you're interacting with. Is this person gonna fuck my shit up? Or if right now things are cool and they seem a little vindictive and that if things turn, they can fuck your shit up, that's what you should be watching out for. And ladies, I would just keep it real off the bat. I mean, obviously there's situations where, I can't because it's my boss. Like, I understand that fucking sucks. But like, so you know what? I'm not even going to talk to the ladies when it comes to sexual harassment. I just want to talk to the guys. Watch yourself in the way where gauge how much can I get away with this person. Is that a bad way to say it?
No,
I mean,
but it's just like, I mean, for years I had an ex-girlfriend tell me, like, I've been taught my whole life how not to get raped. You know what I mean? And it's true. I mean, just for years they look both ways on a dark alley, and They've had to do that for years. So now, since they've been doing that for years, we can at least start gauging ourselves on how not to be accused or make women feel harassed.
That's awesome. Something happened recently in the last year or two with one of my favorite people, one of my favorite basketball coaches. This girl he was working with, she accused him of something, and in the end, it was like she tells the story, and it's like, wait a minute, that's what happened? You did not get assaulted. That was just him making a hard move at you, and you went up to his hotel room. Holy shit, what the fuck is going on here? But maybe if he had heard this podcast, he would have been like, okay, but you know, and then that goes to you reading social, that goes to you looking at someone and judging their character, because I could have fucking told you. I could have told you, I know that chick. She dated one of my friends, and I could tell you 100% that's not the chick you make a move on. Yeah. That is the worst fucking chick. You could tell from 100 miles away that she's such a kook. She's going to be the one that can turn this on you just for her own gain in a second. And I maybe that's just because I'm good at reading people, maybe not, but I feel like everyone knew. The funniest shit that happened on that thing, after she came out with her allegations and he addressed them and the court addressed it and we realized that there was no assault that took place, Black Twitter and Instagram went in on this chick so hard, and the dude's white, but he's a known basketball coach, known basketball name, and the Black Instagram and Black Twitter went so hard for our boy, and they said to the point where she had to disable comments on all of her pictures and videos. Yeah. That's kind of, man, I don't know. We're gonna hopefully luckily this is at the end of this episode, so you know what? Although I will say our analytics says that most people finish our episodes. So
yeah, if you tune out, you're going to tune out. But yeah, you understand what we're saying. We're not trying to have a bunch of hard R's. We're just saying, I mean, ladies, be careful. Guys, be careful too, man.
Yeah, like, men, watch yourselves, you know? I like what Rogan said, but remember that golden rule, ladies and gentlemen. Treat others how they want to be treated. And do your best at trying to learn how others want to be treated, and you'll find success in social situations, romantic situations, definitely romantic situations. That's a great point. The girl I'm seeing now, she is so fucking opposite of me. Oh my God, if I treated her the way I want to be treated, we would never see each other again. But I treat her how I know she wants to be treated, and things work out great. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you take anything from this episode 8, I can't wait to name this episode. It's going to be pretty fucking funny. A lot of people reached out and said, oh, just name it by numbers. You're going to get tired of naming them. Fuck no. That's so fun to name these episodes.
The best part. I love seeing what you come up with.
Yeah. It takes me a while, actually. I put a lot of thought into it. So, the golden rule is now treat others how they want to be treated. And take your time to figure out how everyone wants to be treated. And you'll have success in romantic situations and social situations. Thanks for listening. Episode 8, Cowboy from Hell podcast. All right.
All right. Feel good.
Really good. Really good.